Hello, this is Taha.
This is Anaina,
This is Movie Masala.
and we're here to yap at you about films we watched recently.
And today we're doing.
My Oxford year.
I don't really want the cake, thank you.
Don't want the cake?
No.
Fine. Yeah. It's just that Mrs. Mackenzie sort of crafted it in our very own college kitchen, so it's basically an insult to the college, everyone here, and all of Oxford.
Well, I'm going to eat it.
I'm not going to force you to eat it. It's like...
But I want.
I know you do, but...
I insist.
This is the new romantic drama film on Netflix that almost everyone has watched that, released this Friday. And it has been to some mixed reviews, and I shall contribute to the mixedness of those reviews.
I will stir the pot.
So basically, to set it up, it's a film that's based off of a novel that is written by Julia Whelan. It's the same name. And it's been adapted into a screenplay by like Alison Burnett and Melissa Osborne.
Mhm.
And the premise is very, very simple. American girl, Anna, played by Sofia Carson, goes to Oxford to study Victorian literature. British, very fancy, posh guy, Jamie Davenport, played by Corey Milcreast, is someone she has like an initial, little enemies moment with, where he, splashes his car and, she finds out that he's like a fuckboy and is like very blasé about things or whatever. But then turns out to be her PhD tutor for one of the classes she was most excited for. So it's kind of, her semi-teacher.
Okay.
And then we follow the story of them falling in love. Fairly simple, right?
Fairly simple, kind of generic, but let's go.
And then it adds another generic plot point,
Okay.
which is Jamie has cancer. I mean, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't watched this.
He probably coughed 3 times in the film. He had to get cancer.
Okay, actually, the thing is, he doesn't. It is a little bit of a, a swing if you don't know what you're going in for, which is like some of the reviews that I've read, which is like, I thought I was signing up for a sweet rom-com. I didn't know this was going to be sad.
That is what life is, You sign up for a swim com and then cancer.
Exactly, no, but I mean, if you like look at the timings of like, or how this like, the plot moves or the pacing of this plot, there's like an hour to go while they're, already into the relationship. So you kind of have to know that something is going to happen, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, anyway, spoiler alert, Jamie has cancer and he doesn't look like it. He looks, extremely healthy, which is different to how popular media represents people who have cancer. So you really can't, guess it. But the rest of the film then is spent dealing with the fact that Jamie has cancer and will die soon and wants to die soon and not get treatment for it, which is one of the main points of conflict between him and his father.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'll just go through the first bit of this film first, and then we'll get to the second bit.
Okay.
I think the first bit of this film is quite funny. There's this moment where Jamie asks Anna, well, so why did you come to Oxford? And she goes, I have a library fetish. And he kind of gives her this
I
look.
love that response. I might steal that response.
Yeah. No, this face he gives her, where he like fully pauses for like a good 30 seconds and like just goes away somewhere. And like that image still makes me want to laugh. And it made my friend and I who were watching it laugh for a good 15 minutes, like while pausing the film. So I think it has these genuinely funny moments. And I think a lot of that is due to Corey Milcreast, who I think is like the shining star of this film, along with some of the side characters who are like played by Harry Trevaldwin, Hugh Coles, etc., who also provide some of the like comic relief, which is just fun. Now moving on to the second part of the film, which is the sadder parts. I appreciate the plot, which strays from the convention and does not have Anna kind of intervene in Jamie's like life decisions to not take treatment or, not speak to his dad or stand up to his dad or not succumb to it, etc. She very lightly and very delicately kind of helps them get together, whatever, but she never meddles in the situation. She never asserts herself. And
She's trying not to center it around herself very much so in that way, I
exactly,
guess.
exactly. She doesn't center this guy's like illness around herself, which I appreciate because that's a really hard thing to not just do in real life, but also to show in a popular mainstream film because people are going
Yeah.
to be mad about that. Right. And then, one of the main like plot like points is that she is meant to go back to America. She's only there in Oxford for a year to study literature. She has like a whole fancy cushy job set up at Goldman Sachs because she comes from like immigrant middle class family back in America. So she, has to make money. She's being realistic. But then, she falls in love with not just Jamie, but with Oxford and etc., etc., and realizes that she has different dreams and she can't go on with the plan she'd already set out. So she decides to stay. And there's a conflict of Jamie thinking she's only staying because of him and because he's dying and etc., etc. And I feel like it's all handled pretty well, pretty decently.
I think one of the things that bothers anyone the most in any types of like this rom-com happens a lot, but any type of like these romantic drama is the conflict that comes from two people just not sitting down and having a conversation for 5 minutes. So I'm glad that that's not the case because it makes, I feel, any plot margins of more insufferable because of it.
For sure, no. And this film does have its good share of the characters have a spat and then, don't talk to each other for days and then, find each other in the library and they're like, it's fine. And then get back together. I think that happens at least 3 to 4 times, which it's a rom-com. Fine, I'm willing to forgive it. I think one of my main gripes with this film is, unfortunately, Sofia Carson.
Okay.
Her chemistry with Corey Milcrease is great. They work well together. I think they match each other's like energy levels and stuff when they're together. But when she's by herself, and I think this is a problem I've had with her in like a lot of her previous films as well, I just don't see it. The emotional depth, or she does deadpan quite well. But like this film requires a lot of emotional depth, especially in the second half, where it gets really like serious. I just think it was lacking and I didn't think it was convincing enough. And I mean, I don't want to compare it with another film, but another, romantic drama that has cancer as one of its plot points. That was also based off a book. Is the extremely popular The Fault in Our Stars.
I was thinking of the exact same one. If you had not said it, I would have.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I think the actors there get it right so well. They make you want to weep with them, right? When they're weeping, they make you laugh when they're laughing with you. And I feel like Sofia Carson doesn't get true to me in that way. But as like a comparison point, Corey Milcrease manages to get like Jamie to perfect Augustus Walters levels.
Okay.
Which is really fun. He plays him in the same kind of fun, quirky, loves life kind of way, which, Ansel Elgort also does in The Fault in Our Stars.
Definitely.
Like, the tea. But yeah, again, Sofia Carson does not have the same depth, I feel.
Got it.
That needed to be there to make this film as like emotionally impactful as I'm sure the writing suggests in the book.
Do you think that is the case then? Like the writing has more depth than she is able to convey?
I think so, because it has a really beautiful ending where we see this montage sequence of them going on a trip on this like grand tour that they've been speaking about. And then it kind of cuts away to just her there. And then it rewinds. It goes in reverse. Right? I think that's like a wonderful way of conveying something.
Okay, yeah.
It just didn't hit me the way it would have because I was not convinced by what I was seeing. So I don't want to blame it entirely on her. I think even the writing could have picked up, at least for the adaptation into like a screenplay, could have picked up a little more and not been more on the nose, but just I feel like they needed to land in a few more of the emotional punches. So then I think my like main issues are casting and making the screenplay. Just like a level up. Because like I said, I'm not as like, oh my god, this film emotionally devastated me, or this film was utter crap either. I'm somewhere in the, on the, not even on the fence, but in the middle between the two of those, where I'm like, yeah, it was nice. It was fun to watch. It had good elements. It made me laugh out loud, but also it didn't get me as emotionally invested as it, probably set out to.
Fair enough. Truly a mixed review.
Exactly.
So those were our thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast is produced solely by us with musical assets from Pixabay. See you again next time.